Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to pick up some conversation?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk. I never get tired of hearing that. Oh my goodness. It's so cute and catchy.
She did a phenomenal job.
Really excellent. Hey, how are you?
What up? Another good day, trying to make it through the week.
I know that's right. Happy Friday Eve.
Happy Friday. Although my Friday this weekend will be more like, and the Saturday will be more like grading papers, like grading. But I'm gonna get through it.
You will get through it. I don't have any papers to grade this semester. Yay!
Right.
However, my new job.
Listen, it's a blessing to be working. I could say that. It's a blessing.
You know what? And that's how you have to view it.
Not complain. It's a blessing. Even through COVID.
I am not complaining. Oh my goodness. Yes, another great day. Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Man, last week's conversation was a really good one too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. It definitely was. We had a good time with the people in the village.
Yes.
People in the village. And so actually I think we're gonna kind of continue with that theme a little bit tonight as far as the village and talk about adoption.
Okay.
So one of our church babies, you know I gotta say it. One of our church babies is now a author.
Okay.
And a college graduate and excuse me, and just doing great things. And it is national. Actually, I was gonna have him on a few weeks ago, but his schedule was mixed up to talk about his work with what's the guy's name? The attorney Crump. His work with George Floyd Foundation and the March on Washington that they just did. That was the anniversary of the March on Washington. However, it is National Adoption Month. And so we would have dug a little bit into his book, but at this point it's National Adoption Month. So I thought, you know what? It'll be a great time. And when we were working out the schedule, which he's still not here because he's on another call, but he's gonna jump in as soon as he can. And I said, well, let's do something in November. And he was like, that's great. That's National Adoption Month. And I could talk about it because he was adopted and, you know, just his whole story. So I'm looking forward to him joining us soon. I do have some personal experience with adoption myself. So I have a blended family is what they're calling it now. Before it was just your mama and daddy, your mama got married, he had some children, she had some children, and now y'all brothers and sisters, and that's just it.
Deal with it.
It didn't have, you know, they ain't care if y'all liked each other or not. This your brother.
You gonna like them. You're going to like them.
Right. This your
Not if
sister.
you want to. There's
And
no
that's
choice
just the
with
bottom
that.
line.
Right. This is how it's gonna be.
Right.
Let it be.
So when my mother and my, what the world would say, stepfather, I say daddy, got married, they had a daughter. My mother had another child. And so they decided that they didn't want that child to grow up kind of like an only child, being that we were like 12 years older.
Right.
So when we left the house, that child would be the only one in the house. So they decided to adopt.
Oh, okay.
So we have that is our experience. We have a brother who was adopted, that my parents adopted and came to live with us. And it was interesting. There were, of course, challenges, because he had to get used to new surroundings. So he had been in foster care, and his foster parents were actually white.
Oh.
So that was even at that age, this was years ago.
Right.
Even at that age, you could tell he had to do some adjusting.
Right.
Because culturally, I think we raise children differently.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So he had to do some adjusting to that. So and the really strange part is it's an adjustment for like the whole family.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It's an adjustment for the whole family. I think it might have been a little easier on us because we had already started the blending process. Like my dad had a son that is around the same age as we are, that came to live with us. Like we knew him, we had been around him, you know, they dated for a number of years before they got married. So we had already kind of been around him, but even him coming to live with us was an adjustment. So I think we had our adjustment period earlier. So bringing in another child really wasn't that hard for us, but it was a little challenging for my parents and for the little boy. But he a big old grown man now with children of his own and everything.
You know, question. First off, I see you got your hair did. You got.
Oh my God! Really, friends?
You know, I'm a man all day.
Okay, so first of all, I want you to go back and look at last week because I looked the same way
you probably had it done since 2 weeks ago, and I'm just getting it.
See what I'm saying?
Anyways, I was.
That's another conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. I was really, based on your story, because I've known you and I've never known that. I want to know, are you still in contact with all of the pieces, all of the people that are, you know, not a part of the traditional part of your family, but of course they're still family, but are you still connected with them now that you guys have, you know, matriculated into your adulthood?
Sure. Yes. We, I mean, so what the world would consider my stepbrother, the one that's closer in age to us, ain't no step between us. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, so I mean, this my dude, right? Because when I went to Seattle, this guy dropped everything.
Oh yeah,
drove me to Seattle. Made sure I got settled in.
Right.
You know, really just like you would have thought we came out the same womb.
Right.
That's how we treat each other.
That's what true family is about, right?
Right.
Knowing that you're good, you're safe, I got you. I know you know that I got your back, truly, right? Because your siblings are literally your first friends. Your first friends. Your first true friends.
Well, can be friends, because sometimes you don't get along with your blood siblings.
Well, you know, I think people, I think starting off they do, but then they lose their way, right? Like regular friendships. But when
Yeah.
push comes to shove, you know where they're gonna go.
Oh.
You know?
Me and Lorraine, well, you know my sister, Lorraine.
Yeah,
Me and
yeah,
Lorraine, when we were little, fought every day.
right,
Like cats and dogs. We fought
right.
every day. Like one time my mom moved the coffee table out the floor and was like, y'all go at it. And we call ourselves gonna really physically fight each other, but we ain't want to hurt each other. But
Of
now
course.
you better not step in, because then we gonna hurt
Both
you.
y'all gonna come. That's what I meant. You know, I could have issues with my brother, but if somebody else jump in, you better watch out, because it's
Right.
gonna be a problem for you,
Right.
not for us. Because we'll bounce back the next day, not even
Right.
the next moment. Oh
Yeah.
we got argument. And people be looking like, what? Y'all just was arguing? Wouldn't even know it. Y'all was mad at each other? Wouldn't even know it, because you bounce back. Some people bounce back slower than others, but it's there. I was thinking of a movie. I don't know if you caught the Netflix. This is my new jam, Queen's Gambit.
No.
Ooh, so good, so good. It took me a minute. Most of my friends who know me, they know I love my chess game. Like, Moise, you got to watch it. You got to watch. And I was working on, of course, my other stuff. So I wanted to make sure I had the time to kind of focus in on it. Man, off the chain good. And it talked about adoption.
Wow.
Where here's this young lady who is the best in the world, and nobody would have known it, but she was adopted. She went through the adoption house where they had her stay for a minute until she can find the right family. And it's just shared the story of how she became the support for the family when they thought they were going to be the support for her.
Wow.
Right? So it's funny how, you know, in adoption, we think that we're here to save that person, right? But then that person comes to our rescue.
It can be. It can be.
When you shared your story, I thought about that. Like, he dropped everything, right?
He did. So that wasn't well, I guess in a way it kind of is adoption, you know, when you blend the families.
Right.
But my the son that they did adopt, he is doing well. We so I'm not a telephone person, but you know, we try to stay in touch. We try to stay connected. Right. He came down for Dad's birthday. Got to see his sons and his stepdaughter. And it was just beautiful. He stopped over in Jacksonville, saw Mom. You know, so it is we stay, you know, still stay in touch, and probably not as much as we would want to. Oh.
This is that
That's JT's mom. That was JT's mom.
Oh, Mom giving us the juice.
Hey Mom Plumber. But so I mean, family is family. And when I think about adoption too, sometimes, like our house, my mama loved people, and so she collects them. Like I collect teddy bears, she collect people. And folks would be over our house, folks would call her mom, you know, and that sort of thing. She is just one of those kind of people. And so even sometimes when I think about adoption, I think about it in that way as well. Like, you know, we always had college students over our house. My friends always wanted to come over to our house because, you know, they thought my mom was cool, which she is now. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, she's a hot
So sometimes when I think about adoption, I think about it in that way as well. But from the legal, I guess, standpoint of it, it is a very, very good thing. And I think people who are able to do it and have the capacity, mentally, physically, financially, should adopt, because there are so many and I want to use the right word, children without permanent homes. I'll say that. I struggle with the word unwanted when we talk about
No,
children.
no, I agree with you. There's so many. Um, listen, I was this week. I was talking to my class, and I had a student who shared that her and her mom were adopting her sister's kids. I'm not sure what happened to the sister, but they needed to step up to keep the brothers and sisters together.
Mm,
And that was like a wow moment again. And I've seen it before, but I was watching Bernie Mac and thought about the same thing. You know, we want to keep these kids together, right? And he was in the position to keep them together, so he stepped up to the plate. I think that's the big thing. Do we talking about the village? You're right into the village piece. Do
we
we
run into the village, yeah.
jump in and say, "Hey, because I can, I should." Because I have the responsibility and the ability, because I can do it, I should do it. So it is our responsibility to just step up. Ironically, in that movie, a lot of the Caucasian kids and younger were getting adopted, but the older ones were not. I think the one black lead on there, she was in the same situation, but never got adopted.
Mm.
Based on what I saw in the movie, it never showed where she got adopted. She turned
Mm-hmm.
out. But we have a lot of kids who are turning out. You know, they've been in the system for so long that they term out. Now the state has they have benefits and things that comes with the state, but do they really take advantage of it? You know, are they going to college? And I believe at this point their college is for free. Are they actually going to college and using those, you know, benefits? Most times I don't think they are, based on all the things that they want to go through.
Yeah. I remember, and I think it's so interesting that that I don't want to say stumbled on this day. I didn't even know there was a National Adoption Day until Jacari told me about it. But it's interesting when I think back. I remember a Different World episode about foster care and a little boy that was in a home and he wanted to stay with Freddie, you know, whatever. And
yeah, I remember that.
And everybody, you know, everybody tried to go and adopt them, you know. So it's not like it's a new phenomenon or a new issue or problem. And even in that episode, they talked about how people only wanted the babies.
Correct. Correct.
They didn't want the older children, you know, whatever. Once they got a certain age, they didn't really want those. And then once they definitely got into the teenage years,
right,
they didn't want those. So I know that my
well, I wouldn't say that they don't want them, because in the movie they did take her as a teenager. I think they don't understand. Most people think it's hard. It's hard work. It's a lot that comes with it. They want those baby years to say, you know, I raised the child. But my brother, he works for a foster facility.
Oh, wow.
So he works in a group home and he's the educational director. So he deals
Call
with
him, tell him to jump on right quick.
Yeah, it's not easy. Based on our conversations, it's not always easy because you deal with so much, you know, and I've gone to visit him and I'm like, wow, I know you're dealing with a lot because of these students, these young people come with challenges of their own. They've seen so much. You'd be surprised, like, wow, you went through that, but they've seen more than some people have seen in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And they dealt with more than some people will deal with in a lifetime.
Yeah, and dealing. I mean,
and still dealing.
First of all, you got to deal with the fact that you don't have parents.
Correct.
For whatever reason. And so even if you're not being told the reason, you are using your own imagination to try to figure out why I don't have parents.
Correct.
You know, so just imagine that on a 3-year-old, on a 4-year-old, on a 5-year-old, much less a teenager, you know? So I'm already so now I'm a teen, and I still, it's like nobody wants me.
And that's the thing
Um,
right there. Right.
and that so when you talk about them going on to college, who's been there to kind of direct them and push them and
Correct.
encourage them in that way? Most
Right.
of them are just looking for a way out if it has not been a good life. And even if foster parents have tried to provide a good life, it's still that emotional roller coaster, I think, that they go through just trying to figure out who they are. Like, I don't know my parents, so I don't know my lineage. So, who am I?
I have another good friend who works. He started his own foundation, his own. He works with the state. Let's put it that
Mhm.
way. He was actually a foster child himself, him and his brother,
Mm.
and they were able to start up a program where they actually help other foster kids. So they work with the state in trying to help students who are dealing with the things that we're talking about, letting them know that, you know what, I went through it too. But there's opportunities out here for you. There's things that will help you to break the cycle, right?
Mhm.
And there are a number of reasons why our babies end up in a situation.
Yeah.
Um, but us finding a way to solve that, help them through that, right? I
Mhm.
don't think it's a real way to solve that problem, but helping them through that is what his company is actually working towards. And they put on workshops and trainings and seminars. They talk to the kids and, let them know that they were in their space, you
Yeah.
know. And again, it's not always pretty because even now they still deal with their own problems and issues. It never goes away. And
Yeah.
I think that's what some people think. Well, once they get adopted,
Then it's
boom,
a magic cure.
and it's not, right? I
It's
mean,
not.
even parents who have their own kids have to deal with, the ups and downs of raising and developing and, providing that nourishment to that
Right.
young person.
Right.
So,
Right. And
you know,
just imagine, okay, so you have your own kids, you know your story, you know your history, you know your background, you know your people. Raising somebody where you don't know their people, you don't know what type of behaviors and trends and health issues and even mental health issues may have run through their particular lineage. And so now you can't, sometimes if you know it's in your family, you can kind of
fight it
see
all,
it and
prepare for it.
yeah, right, try to head it off, whatever. But you have this child that you know nothing about, and how do you help them? And then when you do know that a little bit of their history, then it makes it better. You can help figure out what their triggers are and that sort of thing. But I mean, every human person is different. So
Correct.
so either way, you learning them, and they're learning you.
Correct.
So I think it takes really, really special people to adopt and to foster care children. It really does. You have to have so much patience, and understanding, and then this wonderful capacity to love unconditionally. To me, that is like prerequisite for you to, because if we tell the truth, we hear the horror stories, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so
Yeah,
many, crazy situations where you're like,
yeah,
wow. And I think that's what stopped people from actually trying to adopt because they hear more of the bad than the good,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You hear those situations where what I just talked about, this person became the chess champion of the world, was adopted, or this person became, lawyer, doctor, or scientist, whatever it may be, and they were adopted. They
yeah,
were able to conquer that situation and make something beautiful out of it. We hear man, they tore up my home, they stole everything that I had, and then they, ransacked or did X, Y, and Z. So you're right. We hear more of the bad than we hear the good. So I think it does stop people from saying, we should adopt.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like if the news had a different spin to it, instead of always reporting negative, report the positive. I think the world would be so much better
They
if we
probably
could
won't
hear.
make as much money. We love
Well,
the
yeah.
juices. We
But
love
if we could hear more of the, triumphs
right.
in adoption, because I knew a girl that I went to school with, she was adopted. College, of course, I was a non-traditional student, but I remember her talking about how her adopted family loved her and encouraged her and different things of that nature.
So
So
my question
there
to
are
you, would you adopt?
successes. There are successes out there.
Oh
And
yeah.
so that is actually, I hope Jacari is able to get on before we leave. But this is his book, France.
Okay. I
So
like the
it's
cover.
Lost and Found, Finding Success in Search for Yourself. So he pretty much talks about his journey. So I've known him for a little while, maybe 8 9 years or so, maybe a
Okay.
little less. Met him when he was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then he went to college, and now he's doing great things. So there's always there's always if you try, if you want it, I believe that there's always some good that can come out the bad.
Oh,
And
I definitely
I
believe
think
that.
that that you almost have the purpose in your heart that I'm gonna take this. You're either gonna do one or two things. You're gonna take it and you're gonna wallow in it, or you're gonna take it and you're gonna use it as a stepping stone.
Right.
But at the same time, then it's like there needs to be that one person that helps you turn on the light. And I think sometimes our children don't get that one person, or they don't recognize that person. And so when you talk about foster care and you talk about adoption, and you talk about people running group homes, that is a lot of work.
Man, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of
That
work.
is a lot of work.
One of the things I tell my brother, I'm like, man, yeah, you don't have kids, but you already got kids. Because he's literally giving them some of the tools that my parents used on us, keeping the house clean, maintaining yourself, your physical, emotional, spiritual. You want to do it right the first time. Just little. I'm surprised, and my father told me this, that one day I would say, my father told me this, right? I'm just surprised by all of the little lessons that I've learned that help me to be who I am, which I'm going to definitely share with my kids, and they're going to share with their kids because my grandfather shared it with him, right?
Right.
So
It is passed down. It passes down and passes down.
it's putting, man, my question that I had for you is, would you adopt? Or are you
Wow.
thinking about adopting?
That's a good question. Um,
And you don't have to answer it right now, right?
no.
I had a great coworker. She was actually, I was the director at one school. She was a director at another school. She was heavy into adoption, right? She believed that there was a way to help our kids. She did not have kids of her own. So she said, you know what, I wanted to adopt. So she was actually what they call the holding, like a place for the child to go and kind of live until that child finds a true home.
So that's foster care.
It is foster care, but it's not like the group home.
Right.
So
It's still foster care.
Exactly. You're going to an individual's house, and then they can decide whether or not they want to keep you there, or somebody else, says, hey, we like her or him, and they take you on. And she was a single, she wasn't married, so a single person. She wasn't married, so it made it a little bit difficult. Like
Mhm.
she could be the guardian,
Mhm.
but she
Couldn't
could
adopt.
yeah, she couldn't adopt. So
Right.
they had to go through years and years of, you know, all type of stuff just to put her in the position to
Yeah.
be able to adopt a child.
Yeah. I have always actually considered adoption only because I saw it, you know, growing up. I love children. I've been a youth pastor. I'm a mentor. I love kids. If I had the money, I would probably have a house full of children. Even as a single person.
Right.
Um, my 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 only concern with hey Crystal, adoption rocks.
I wonder if it sound like Crystal was adopted. It sound based on what I read, it looked like
No,
she.
I think she works. She's a social worker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One of the
So
yeah, rewarding jobs in life.
so Crystal is one of my sisters.
Oh, okay, okay.
So so my only thing in raising children that I've always wanted for my life and for their life is a 2-parent home.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's like the dream of it.
Right.
Um but as I get older,
Mhm.
and as I get more stable in my career and in my dreams and in the things that I do, I probably would eventually.
Yeah, I have another good. I don't know why I got a lot of these adoption friends, like adopted friends. I have a great friend who actually was adopted. Um,
Mhm.
his mother was not in a position to assist him correctly, going
Mhm.
through a lot, family going through a lot. Uh, so the adopted mother came in and took him in,
Mm.
regardless of all the craziness that was going on. And the mother, oh, that was so nice.
Oh, Crystal, you're so sweet. Thank you.
I agree with her. I definitely agree. The adopted mother had passed away. And really, without the adopted mother, I don't think my friend would be where he is today. Now, the mother was still there, but the adopted mother, I think, really paced him and put him in places and
And
in
kind of
situations.
stabilized his life, stabilized the life
Definitely,
a little bit.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And he would tell you the same even up until today, because the adopted mother put him in a place that even after she had passed away, many of the things that she worked for, her
Mm.
retirement and all that went to him.
Mhm.
And she just really positioned him to say, okay, this is coming, but I'm not, she knew enough to say, I'm not giving you all this at once, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to grow into this. And I think it really helped him, you know, as he matriculated through his life, you know,
Yeah.
married with his kids and all that. It really just gave him what he needed along the way to continue to be successful. And I think that's what, you know, the whole adoption thing is about, right? Are you preparing that next person for their journey? So
Yeah.
whether it's a family of two, where it's you and your husband, or just one, you know,
Yeah.
do you have what it takes to help them get to the next step, help them
Yeah.
get to and live a purposeful life?
Yeah. And I think some of the traditions, I'll put it that way, are changing. So now it's more of, it doesn't really, they don't look for the 2-parent home. They just make sure that it's stable, that this person
Correct.
can handle. Because
Correct.
truth be told, children are expensive.
Oh, very. Listen, I have some friends. My sister, as you know,
Oh,
had
that's right. You
twins.
got twins. Oh, it's the 1-year birthday, right?
Their birthday is after Thanksgiving.
And it's the
I
one
tell
year.
you, this is their second year,
This is
2 years.
2? Oh, I missed the first birthday.
Yeah. So listen, these kids it's no joke. You got to pay for them diapers. Not only did I have them two, I have so many friends who had kids, right? I got gifts still in my closet that I needed to give to these people. They like, I'm like, listen, I got these gifts. They still here. But these things are expensive.
I hope it's not clothes, friends. The kids be that grew out of that.
You know, I for my sister recently, I just bought her some clothes and I mailed it immediately. I was gonna wait. They said, no, you can wait and bring it. I was like, nope, putting it in the mail because before you know it, they're gonna grow out of it.
They will be outgrown.
But I started doing gift cards, and you know, they can buy whatever they need to buy for the child, and books. That's my other thing. Even for my nieces and nephews, I don't get them. I used to always be Mr. Santa Claus, always getting toys, especially loud toys that makes a lot of noise. Like, why you got?
Oh, the parents love you, don't they? They love you. The parents love you.
I have one of my cousins. He would do the same. I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea. But I realized, you know, I need to get them more books, more educational things that's going to stimulate their minds because, you know, they may not be getting a lot of that. And if they are, good, here's some more, right? So I realized how expensive it is to actually raise children, which goes to the next question. A lot of people don't want to have kids because of that, right? You have women who don't want to have kids now because they don't want to have their body go through that transformation, right? Or they may not be physically able to do it, but here's an opportunity to
adoption,
and not have to worry about, you know, that toddler years and go right into that, you know, juvenile, you know, well, I'll say middle high school years where you can, and even that is tough.
That is tough.
That is tough. So
that is tough. It takes, I'm telling you, it takes. So I can say this through my experience, especially as being a youth pastor, right? So you deal with all types of children and all of their emotions and you know, and I mean, they ain't even living with me, right? But I get to see them on a regular basis.
Right.
So I can see 5 different attitudes in 1 hour.
1 hour. That's fast.
And it's no joke.
No.
So I can only imagine having a child that you did not birth, and they know you ain't birthed them.
Right.
and what that would be like, you know.
So it was tough for me because I worked at a Title I school, right? In an area where there were not a lot of male figures. So I watched that, you know, child switched over 3-4 times in the same day, not in the hour, you know, going from rage to sadness to just happy again. Many of the students, Mr. Morris, you know, you would be my dad. You're my dad, Mr. Morris. And I'm like, man, this is real.
And they're looking for it. They're looking for, I mean, all of us, right? All of us want to be loved. We want to be cared for. But when you don't find it, and so you're in that constant search, for it. So it is, but to your point of needing more male figures, I am blessed to have, like, my brother is wonderful. So if I ever, you know, I considered a couple of different things in my singlehood, and I would always talk to him and be like, look, if I decide to do this in my singleness, bruh, you're gonna have to be the goddaddy and the uncle.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, it's tough watching single moms bring their kids up, and you know, they have to, you know, be as much as they can to that child, which kind of leads me to that point of we just got to be a light wherever we are. Going back to the you know, the village, because we don't know, even though that child may not be in our house, we are still providing some type of guidance, still providing some type of light, and still providing some type of direction, right? It could be a simple conversation and we take it for granted.
Yeah.
But that's what that child needed to hear at that moment, right?
Yeah.
That's what they needed to hear to get back on the right track or to make a decision where they're going to go left or right. So, you know, I literally put my hats out to the parents who are doing the best they can. And the parents who decide to say, just like your parents did, you know what, we have room.
Yeah.
We have room. We could take on another one. We could work this out. Now it may not be at the toddler level, right?
He was definitely a toddler when he came. He was like 3 years old. Yeah.
And it could also, you know, be up into that adolescent where they're like they're into their preteens. I always call them preteens, or their teenage years. You know, where you can provide that light, and you don't know how bright they will shine afterwards.
Isn't that something?
You started the spark.
Making a difference. So let me ask you a question, France. How do you view, or what are your views on the cultural differences? So we see a lot, like with celebrities going to Africa and adopting children. White celebrities adopting Black children, or white families adopting Black children. I think one of my favorite shows is This Is Us.
Correct.
And it has the family that were gonna take home 3, but one of them passed, so they got the baby that came in, and he was a Black baby, you know, and this or whatever. And it really, I think it's wonderful that it depicts the challenges that everybody had, not just the mom and the dad, but the children had, you know, whatever. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's just love, whoever can give love, or do you think that Black babies need to be with Black families, and white babies need to be with white families, and Korean babies need to be with Korean families, and da 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 da?
Well, it's a funny thing. I think it needs to be love, period, right? Because just because I'm in that culture don't mean I'm loved by that culture. And that is the piece right there. You know, do you actually love this child? Because again, like we said, it's not an easy job. You know, I think just recently, this young lady bought into, I believe, African babies, or were they Korean babies? I'm not too sure, but I do know the point, where she was using them just for Instagram and just for notoriety. And then once it got tough, she sent them kids back. Really? That's what we do? I think it's tough. I think the thing that helps is love. Do I actually love this child? And we're seeing the real dynamics right now, where you have same-sex parents, right? Who is that? Mama Plumber. Just put that out, right?
It has no color. That is true.
It has no color. As long as you know you love that child.
But even beyond, let's move beyond color. What about just the cultural difference? Let's be for real right here, right?
Correct.
So I'm just gonna say it. You're a white family. You have a white son and a black son. Black son you adopted. Your white son will be okay out in the street. How do you have the conversation with the black son? Or are you having the talk? Are you having the talk? Or do you even know to have the talk with the black son?
But you know, that's another one. Some Black folks were not even having to talk either. So let's go there for a second, right? You just let your child go, but you didn't have to talk. I do think in a cultural standpoint, it is harder for them because they have never experienced it, right? So how can you have a talk about something you don't have no knowledge about? But I think based on some of the things that we've been seeing, especially on our social media feeds, on our TV, you know, most people are now being a little bit more aware of that. I was going to bring the point of the same-sex families that are now adopting or having kids, right? How do you, what are those values? And that's always been a hot topic. What are those values you sharing with these kids? You know, do you want them to do the same thing you're doing? And it took me a while to say, it comes back down to love, because here is a child that could have been in a place where they were not getting anything. You know, you're just getting the basics in terms of here's food, here's something to read, and you go on with your day. When you turn 18, you're free to the world. But here's a unit, a family unit that comes in and say, you know what, we're willing to love you regardless of what you've gone through. We're willing to financially put you in a better position than that we're in, so that you can live a greater life. And yes, this is how we live, but we're not forcing that on you, right? I think that's the piece. At the end of the day, people still have to make their own decisions.
True.
So regardless if I came from a traditional household, when I turn 18, it's on me. You got to make the decision, right?
That is true.
Dad taught me that early on, even before I turned 18, about 17, about 16. I just got my car, right? He said, now is your choice. It's your choice whether to come to church or not. You get to choose. You get to choose the type of life.
At 16, he gave you choices?
At 16, well, we've always had opportunities to choose because they wanted us to have that, right? Okay, you need to make the choice. And if it's good, it's going to help you. If it's not, you're going to learn from it, right? Don't touch that stove because it's hot. You touched it anyway. Boom. You felt that heat. You felt that heat. So I think when I got older, and like I said, when I got my car, it was like, okay, you get to choose whether you're going to get up and go to church. I made the choice to get up and go and not just be, there, but actually be a servant. How can I help? So I used to pick up, my father used to always pick up an older member. She was an older member to our church, so she didn't live too far from us, and he would pick her up every Sunday without fail. And she would be in the car with us, to the point where when I got my car, he said, okay, now you go pick her up. And it taught me a lesson about serving and being helpful. Now, there's some Sundays I was like, I don't want to. Come on, man. Not only did we have to pick her up, but after church, I had to bring her home, and she would want to stop to the grocery store. Every time, never failed. I love that lady.
And did she try to give you money? Did she try to give you money?
$2 here and there. She always did. I was like, nah,
my grandma used to try to give me money. Be like, Grandma, I don't need. And then you look down and it be in the side of the seat.
Yeah, I can get it anywhere. But I learned a lesson about being a servant. And again, as I stated, at some point, you're going to have to make the decision, regardless of what was said. Now, I do believe that the foundation that they gave me prior to helped me make a better decision. So that's the conversation that to me is one of those hot topics, right? Whether it's a single person, a married couple, because we don't know what's going on in that house, right?
That's true.
A gay couple. You know, how do you say no to somebody who says, I'm willing to love this person? I'm willing to financially put my all, as we talked about, it's expensive. I'm willing to
Hey everyone, I'm so sorry. I'm here.
That's all right. Hold on one second. Let's put this point up, Jamal. This last comment from Juanita Plummer about it's important. It's important to discuss cultural differences and educate ourselves. Plant the right seed from wrong, and it will blossom.
I agree. Okay. I agree. You know,
thank you.
The best pot to grow, in the best situation to grow. So how do you tell a family who has fertile soil, that you can't take this child, right? That's what I've been struggling with, right? So,
I mean, and it honestly, it is sort of. I mean, it is sort of a struggle because you don't want to lead a child wrong, number one. But my thing too was, I know when I was younger, I was determined not to date or marry outside of my race.
Right.
Because as African American or black, we already have our own set of struggles.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
just did not want my child to have the compound struggle. So the compound struggle of being African American and being mixed race and trying to figure out what's my identity, and
Right.
then having two sets of cultures not liking you because either you're not black enough
Yeah.
or
Right.
or you're not white enough, or so that was one of my things. So that's why I kind of brought that up about the cultural differences, because if you decide to take on a child that is not within your culture or within your race, that's like extra challenge that to
Right.
me could be avoided in some way. So let's bring Jacari in. Look what
Let's
I
do it.
got. Look what I
Oh,
got
lost
today.
and found. We got to get you one too, man. But my book
No, I
lost
need a
and
signed
found.
copy. I need a signed copy.
I
I know
got you.
I need
I
to get
got you.
mine signed too, Jacari. Mine don't have no signature.
I'll be in Tallahassee soon, so I'm gonna make sure I sign. I'm gonna have a book signing in
Thank
Tallahassee.
you.
When you do that, what we could do is, and I'm an author as well. I like to do what I call book exchanges. So I'll
Yes,
sign
sir.
mine, you can sign yours, and take a picture. I love it. I
I
love it.
got you, bro.
I know it wasn't easy. So congratulations. Congratulations.
But a journey worth it.
Exactly. It is. It is. It will continue to serve you well. Trust me.
Thank you. But
Yeah.
how y'all doing?
Everybody, this is Jacari Harris, author of Lost and Found, Finding Success in the Search for Self. So, Jacari, I've already been talking about you being one of our church babies at SG1.
Yes.
And seeing you, I was telling them that I met you when you were in high school.
I say, okay.
In high school at Crystal, it's on Amazon, Crystal. You can get it. You can get
Amazon, Book to Million, Barnes and Noble, or JacariHarris.com. Yes.
Good. So I was telling him, just watching you grow and now seeing you, it's like, wow. So friends, what I didn't tell you was he made one little error.
What's that?
What's that, Jacari? He left the capital of Rattler Nation.
I went to the esteemed great Bethune-Cookman University.
Oh,
640 Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida 32114.
You know, you know what? I'm gonna give you a little credit for that. You went to an HBCU.
Founded by a black woman.
You did go to HBCU. So I give you that.
That was the only thing that kept us together.
But you were just talking about how we could fight with each other, but don't come in here trying to fight with us because you're gonna get it. So now
you're gonna get both. You're gonna get it.
I'd rather go with the snakes than go with the cats, the pussy cats.
But now y'all have a monument that's nice now.
And you saw
it? Got erect. I gotta take me a picture by it.
Hey.
No wildcats allowed.
No, man, let them come. Let them come.
It's nice now. It's nice. Y'all did good on that.
Campus. Got a chance to tour that, and we were doing a get out and vote tour.
Okay.
Getting as many of our young folks to vote, and I got a chance to go to Bethune, and I love the campus. So yeah, I give you a little credit, but you could have stayed. You could have stayed home. You could have stayed home.
You know, after growing up in Tallahassee, I just want to get away, try something different. You know, there's a whole world out there. I want to be open. I want to come with these preconceived mindsets and things. I just want to get out there and just see what's out there for me. And I'm glad that, I had the opportunity to do it. And I'm still, I'm in Houston now. I went from Tallahassee to Daytona to Los Angeles. Now I'm in Houston, and I'm learning more about myself each and every day. So, finding success in the search for self, I'm finding myself every single day. It's an ongoing process. And what people were thinking was, when I first released this book, it said, you found your entire self? No, every single day. We are all finding something new, unique about us. It may be good, bad, indifferent, But it's just one thing. It's us, and I've learned to own my story. So I'm telling people to own your story. You know, you should know who you are and whose you are, and you shouldn't be worried about what other people think or say about you, because at the end of the day, they don't determine your footsteps in life.
Man, you sounded like my good fraternity brother, Dr. Akbar. Naeem, know thyself.
Okay.
I got a question. I asked Lisa this, and I want to know what you would say.
Okay.
Would you adopt?
Yes.
You came from, you were adopted, right?
I was.
So would you now adopt? And your answer
I
is
sure will. I will foster and I will adopt.
okay. So you're not fostering or adopting. Are you thinking about that in the near future? What's your plan for
He's
that?
still a baby. No.
Yeah. So once it's my plan to go to law school. Eventually, very soon. So once I finish that and just get out there a little bit more and start creating a family, then yes, I do want to adopt, and later on in life, I do want to foster. But first, I want to adopt and go from there.
Oh, put that back up, Jamal, right quick. Yep, I believe that
I
wholeheartedly.
do too.
That's true. Yes, I like that as well.
Wholeheartedly, I believe that. Hey, Cam.
The two L's go together. Cam, what's up?
Hey, everyone.
Let's see. Cam said, you put Cam's up, Jamal? Yep. Doing greater and bigger things. Yes, he is. And so is Cam.
We all are. We
all
got
are.
it within us. If you
He got your word, friends. Greater.
Hey, you already know my word. That's my tagline, my everything. So we're working on trying to be a better version of ourselves every day.
Of course.
And
if you're not working on that, then as one of my other mentors would say, you are sinning.
Yes.
You're falling short of what you were supposed to be doing. So
right. we all have a purpose on this earth. And what I tell my friends and individuals who are much older than me, and I've met senior citizens who are still trying to find their purpose. What am I on this earth to do? I'm just living, and even the minors, no, you're not on this earth just to breathe air. No, you have purpose in you. You may not know it, today or tomorrow, but if you begin to align your thoughts, your actions, your ways with God, you will eventually come to fruition with what you're supposed to be doing. And that's just what I've done. It takes time every day. Like I said, I'm learning more about myself, about my purpose. And at first I was like, damn, my purpose changing every day. But then I started jotting it all down and writing it and said, no, it aligns with this because of this, that, and the third. So that's what I began to do. And I'm just grateful. This Lost and Found, writing a book is a task in itself. And I started when I was in undergrad, when I was a student body president in undergrad. I started writing and went through so many editors. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to release a product in this world with my name on it, which is a legacy of mine when I leave this earth, it needs to be done. It needs to be polished. It needs to be a masterpiece. So I hired some great New York Times editors for my book. And I'm sure y'all seen the marketing campaign. My team had this billboard, and I had a party in Tallahassee. So we're definitely doing our best. And COVID has put a limit on some things we could have done. Like I was supposed to do a book tour in the month of November, but it's okay because we turn around in 2021 doing some great things. So I'm excited.
Yes. So Jacari, I'm sorry, France.
I was thinking of, how many of your the young people that when you were adopted, are you still connected with?
So that's really interesting. The reason why I say that is because my amazing adoptive mom, who goes to SG1 as well, she kept a little bit over 100 foster youth. And no, I don't remember them all. But quite a few of them I do remember. I still communicate with a lot of them today on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, things of that nature. I guess elementary, middle, and high school, I still connect with those solid friends. Because, in life, we have to weed out different people. So I'm one of the people, I'm a relationship developer. So I do my best to stay in contact with as many people as I can. No, it's not every day or every week. But when I have that chance, when I have that thought of them, I hit them up, see how they're doing, see if they need anything.
So you were fostered. Were you ever adopted?
Yes, I was in foster care, then I was adopted.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to go ahead, Fran.
I would just want to know at what age.
So I was in foster care at 1.5 years old and got adopted around like 4 or 5.
Oh wow. Okay, so it was
Hey,
young.
Shima.
Yes.
So tell us, so give us a little bit of your story. That's what I was,
Of
but he
course.
kept asking questions, but
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit of your story and what you know.
right. So my mom, my biological mom, she was a substance abuse addict, in and out of jail for a long time, and she in total has 9 kids, with me being the seventh, and just in and out of jail, and we were in an unkept home, 2 bedroom, 1 bath apartment, all 8 of us, 7 kids at the time, and her, and she had 2 additional children later. Just wasn't She couldn't take care of us. She didn't have the finances, the resources, the support. So we had got taken away, and I met my father before my 14th birthday, the day before my 14th birthday. Can't believe it, but it's just crazy. We were going to Orlando, preparing to go to Orlando, my adoptive family and some of my entire adoptive family for Thanksgiving, because typically my birthday is always on Thanksgiving, so my birthday is coming up.
Happy birthday.
And we got a call from my father's wife at the time, out the blue. Never heard from her, none outside of that family, a day in my life. And just, your dad's in the hospital. We want you to meet him, before he transitioned. And at first, I'm just like, what? I want to meet this man before he transition. What do you mean transition? Like, y'all, this is your first time introducing yourselves to me. Why would y'all want to meet somebody before they die? But I just went up ahead and go up there, and the power of prayer and a great church family, pushed me along, and I was able to pray because I was very active in the church, like I am now here in Houston. But I prayed for my father, and he squeezed my hand. I told him I loved him. I didn't know what it meant at that time. I just knew to say it because I never said it before. But now I really know I did love him. I wish I had the opportunity to actually meet with him and do things, but he had died shortly after. And can you believe that out of everybody in the funeral, I'm the one who crying, yelling, hollering the most? Because it's not necessarily because he died. I would say it was more so of how is it that he's in the same community that I am. He knows all these people that I know, and I just
Wow.
never knew
Never
he
knew
was my
him.
father.
Wow.
So that was hurtful, and to know that I had 23 other siblings on my biological father's side, well,
Did
17,
you
it's
say
23 in total.
23?
It's 23 in total. So 17 on my biological father's side that I had never met a day in my life.
Wow.
Mind you, in high school, I would always see this lady every single day. Me and her used to get into it because during that time I had like my mom, my dad mom, would say, you talking back. Stop me in my mouth, whatever. But I was seeing this lady every day, and at that time I was baking cakes, so I knew she liked the cakes. I said, try my cake, Lisa, try my cake. She tried it. She said, my daddy know how to make cakes. Knew how to make cakes. I said, oh, okay, what kind of cakes your daddy knew how to make? And she said, pound cake, 7-Up, all this good stuff. I said, all right, cool. And a couple months later, one of my sisters on my father's side, she said, hey, Jacari, come over to my house. I want you to come and meet everyone. I said, all right, cool. I get over there. The teacher at the high school is there too.
Wow.
She said, what are you here for? I said, why are you here? This is my sister's house. She said, this is my sister's house too. And the whole time we siblings, they didn't even know.
Wow.
And just just growing up and trying to understand, connecting the pieces, putting the pieces together. And that's why I really cherish my adoptive mom, because she really took us in, loved us, cared for us, trained us up. I wasn't the best. I used to, like she tell people, I used to call the police on her. I did. And it's just one thing where now we can look back and say, wow, we've overcome that, and realize that now all the things she did for us is because she loved us, she cared for us, she valued us. And to know now that I was my biological mom, she announced at the book party that she has been 5 years drug free. It's been 20, 30 years she was on drugs. Now she's 5 years. It's just amazing. And another little snippet of my story, because there's a lot of it in here. Another snippet is in high school, I found out that I was held back in first grade by my guidance counselor. And I wanted to prove to everyone that I ain't dumb, I ain't crazy. I'm not, intolerant or whatever. I'm gonna graduate on time. So I decided to graduate high school in 3 years instead of 4. So, I had to take 10 classes online, 10 virtual courses. I had to stay late to do classes, working full time at McDonald's at the time. And I can honestly say, I graduated in those 3 years, but working at McDonald's put a humbling on me because I always heard people, I'm not gonna ever work at McDonald's. But for me, that was my come up.
Right.
That's how I was able to graduate. And actually, I look forward to going to work because I knew I'm going to work, I can make some money, go back to school, I can graduate and leave, go to college. So for me, now when I hear people say, "Oh, I can't work at McDonald's," I say, "No, you possibly can. It can get you a long way. It's a starter-up job."
Right.
I'm not ashamed of it because those same people at McDonald's were the same people who pushed and primed me, or who I'm talking to today, who encourages me, and they're doing great things because we knew, McDonald's wasn't the only stepping stone. We knew
Not
we
the
kept
end.
pushing, we
Right.
kept thriving,
Right.
we would move forward. So I always say, what's here now, what's coming is bigger than what's here now.
Mhm.
So I just encourage everyone to, listen to others, but when you know who you are and whose you are, and listen to yourself and listen to the man above and pray and plan and then produce. Now don't get all tangled up in what he say, what she doing, what they thinking about you, because at the end of the day, they don't matter.
Yeah.
And everyone, and what I love is because some people's like, you was very vulnerable in your book. You sharing some stuff like, why? Like I wouldn't share that stuff. It's because I've owned who I am.
Yeah.
And I know who I am, and I don't want nobody telling me who I am when I already know who I am as a person.
So Nisi Proctor says, hold on, there it is. Yeah, shout out to Miss Jessie. Definitely.
Listen, Nisi is the bomb. Oh, I love Nisi. She made the book cake for me at the party.
Oh, she is so precious. I love her work.
I wanted to hit her up after the party because we had like an after party here. They ate all the cake. I wanted to hit her up and say, "Can you just please mail me a whole new book cake?" Because I just want it for myself. That book cake was off the chain.
So that's another one of my church babies from Greater Mount Pleasant. I went her mom. Yeah, I know her mom.
Me and Nisi, we're very close and connected. We've done work together as well.
It sounds like Lisa was essentially an adopted parent herself, raising all these kids from this church. Just about every other person on here came from the church.
I
baby.
know.
Our foundation has to start from somewhere.
It does. So Jacari was already in high school when I got to Shady Grove. And so I didn't really work with the youth there, but you could just see it was something. When you're intuitive and when you have discernment, even through all the rough patches, you can still tell. And you got to stay. I think that's one of the things that I do love about Miss Jessie is she stayed on top of it.
Right.
So you don't just let it slide. You stay on top of it because you produce a Jacari Harris.
Right.
Which, to wrap what we're talking about in terms of connecting the village to.
Oh, she knows you too, Mr. Moyes.
I'm trying to see when she said the.
You're talking about me. You know all the children too.
Listen. I got kids who are now doctors, lawyers, bankers. And that's why I say it's important to be the light that you are, because you never know who, and I share this with my students today, my college students. I tell them, you don't know who life you're going to change. And there are lives that you're going to change that you don't even, like, I know I'm going to make a difference in my brothers and sisters' lives, right? In our families, our aunties, I'm going to send her a little something. I'm going to change, help her out in her walk. But there are certain people that you don't know yet.
Right.
That you will make a difference in their lives. So, Mr. Harris, I'm giving you that as well. That book is bigger than what you think it is, because
thank you.
We're going to make a difference in people's lives that you probably would never meet, right? And that's essentially what happened with me. Some people will walk up to me and say, "Oh yeah, I read your book and I can't believe I'm getting a chance to talk to you or even play with you. If we're playing a light game of chess, because they took the time out to do it." So you're gonna make a difference.
I really realized that when a day after my book release, when a PR company from West Africa reached out to me and said, we want to do some work with you. and we want to purchase your books and all this good stuff. And we had like a virtual event, and they was like, it was if it wasn't for COVID, we'll fly you out here. And I'm like, God is already calling my name to different countries.
Already.
Ain't no telling what he about to do. Really, when COVID let up.
Well,
I love it, Jacari. I'm so proud. Oh my God.
Thank you. And I miss Shady Girls so much. I cannot wait to get back. I'm coming back the first Sunday. They say it's back open.
Me too, Jacari.
I hope y'all ready for
that. She was there all the time already.
What you say?
Lisa, I thought she was there all the time already working with the media ministry.
So yes, we have so we record live. Yeah. So whenever you're watching us, most of the time we're in the sanctuary and we're streaming, right? But it's still not the same. I'm behind the camera.
It's not the same.
I'm behind the camera. We just had a praise team and the pastor and the musicians. And it's like, on a normal basis, I get at least 10 hugs because I got my mothers there. Right. So I don't get no hugs. I don't get to dance with nobody.
You don't get no after church chicken and cake and punch.
So let's talk about what you do get, right? And this is for you, Mr. Harris. Ooh. You do get a chance to reach more people. You do get a chance to help and, bring a light to people who might be having some darkness in their lives.
Right.
You do help. You do have the access now, not just to the people in Tallahassee or Houston, but you could go all the way to Africa.
Around the world.
And kids who are around the world. Kids
around the world.
Having that same issue that you had and you've gone through, you can show them that, you know what, there's a way out of it too. So we like to look at what we missed or what we lost, but we find ourselves in new places. Yeah. And that is what your title to your book is, right?
It is Lost and Found. I like it, man. I like it.
I don't necessarily consider it a loss because I believe, and I know France gets mad at me when I say this, but I believe we are coming back. It's gonna be different, but I am gonna get some of the things that I want back.
Right.
So that's where I am.
Thank you so much, Crystal.
Yay.
Make sure you purchase the book.
This is the great thing that I did get out of COVID is a virtual series, right? Because if we were on TV, I'd have had to shut this down.
Right.
Exactly.
So I am able to keep talking a little bit because we're virtual, and you go back and look at it if you want to. Isn't that wonderful?
And share it with others. Right.
It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. So, Jacari, you are definitely gonna have to come back.
Yes, because I was this time,
and I want to talk about when you come back. I want to talk about the work that you're doing now.
Okay.
I want to talk about your experience at the March anniversary, the March on Washington anniversary, and helping to organize that. I want to talk about your work you're doing with the George Floyd Foundation.
Okay.
But right now, I want to ask you another question. Okay. France, you got a few more minutes to hang out?
Yes, I'll stick it out for you.
Okay, I love you. So I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
When did you find out that you were adopted, and what was your experience with that?
I don't think, and that's a great question, so thank you. I don't think I necessarily found out. I think as I got older and had visitations between my biological and biological mom, that my adoptive mom took me to, I realized then that, hey, I have two mothers. So in my mind, I just say I have two mothers. But they used to, when my biological mom, used to be drinking, she would always say, "Oh, that's your adoptive mom. You ain't going back home." So in those instances, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm adopted. And I used to be ashamed, I would say, because I couldn't find, or I wasn't looking or trying to find others who were in foster care or adopted as well, peers and friends. But now that, I've been able to own my story and go back, and get my dockage that's dated back to 1989. Now I'm able to really understand what happened, when it happened, why it happened, where it happened, who it happened with, and not to just settle on those things, but to realize that, okay, this is what happened, this is where I am, and this is where I'm going. So I don't know exactly if I could answer that all the way.
Sure.
But yeah.
Good. So leave us, or young people, or anyone. So I was about to say young people, but sometimes young people don't know they're adopted until they get to be adults. um, but for National Adoption Month, and I think the actual day is coming up like on the 20th or something like that. Um, what would you say to someone who is considering? It might just be a flash of a thought in their mind, or even not considering but should. What would
Right.
you say to them?
If you cannot adopt, foster. If you cannot foster, volunteer. If you cannot volunteer, donate. If you cannot donate, educate. If you don't want to educate, participate in something. You can do something to help an adoptive youth's life. Is just mentorship. Sometimes they just need somebody to tell them that I love you. Or here is some lunch money, or you are cared for. I'm here for you no matter what. You may not be with your biological family, but I'm a good friend. I'm a good mentor. I'm a good brother, a big brother to you. They want to feel connected. We want to feel joined together. So to those, I encourage you out there, anyone, everyone, to get involved with your local adoption and foster care agencies. There is something you always can do, even if you don't like dealing with children, because I know people don't like dealing with children, and it's totally fine. It is okay. You still can do something, whether it's on the lobbying side and proposing some legislation with your, city, state, and national elected officials, or donating a bike for a Christmas drive for foster and adopted youth. There's always something you can do. You can connect with, me and my organization, Families for All, familiesfa.org, where we partner with organizations all across the United States and provide resources for foster youth and adopted youth. And we not only also look at on that side of the spectrum, but we look at the biological side as well, because oftentimes when it comes to foster care and adoption, they forget about the biological families. And I've learned to not forget about them, because they are still human. They still have breath. They're still trying. And it's not their fault that they don't have all the resources, tools, and things that they need. So what can we do to help them? So if you don't want to deal with children at all, how about we help focus a little bit on the biological parents? What can we do to ensure that they are back stable, that their mind and their mental space is in an area that they can be able to grow and develop into a new person? Because having your children taken away, and one is enough, but having 9, 8, like my biological mom did, that's a toll. I can't carry children, but the women you carry your child has to take it away. That's a lot. And yes, at the end of the day, it's the biological mother's or father's fault, but they're still human. And if we have programs and laws and policies that's in place to help these biological parents and the resources and the money, I guarantee we'll see lower statistics in the number of youth adopted. Because my goal is not for people to be adopted. My goal is for family reunification.
Families stay together.
Unless there's an absolute must that the child can't go back or can't go with a kin, then okay. But how can we preserve this family?
Yeah, that is my push as well. When I have a friend who actually works for an agency, and just hearing what she has to do to bring a child who, they come from a rough background, she has to literally transport them to another place. I'm like, wow, you literally have to take them away from their family, not just mom and dad, but what about cousins and, aunties and uncles? And, how does that affect the overall psyche of the child? So,
Right.
we had a talk about the village and how important the village is to, making our community stronger. And I think about that too. Like, where's the auntie? Okay, where's the uncle or where's the cousin who possibly could have taken this child in to help them still stay united with
the family,
overall family, right? Unless that doesn't exist, how can we find ways to make that work? Where mom and dad, as you stated, are going through a hard time. Let's get them back. Let's get them rehab. Let's get them, gainfully employed so that they can take on that role of mom and dad again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that.
So I am so excited. Thank you, Jacari, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I
do
appreciate
apologize
it.
Again.
Oh, it's fine, honey. It's we all doing what we gotta do. This again was Jacari Harris, author of Lost and Found: Finding Success in the Search for Self. I love it. I can't wait to get into this. Goodness.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so excited. So if you want to purchase the book, I got mine off Amazon. So you can go on Amazon, purchase the book, JacariHarris.com.
JacariHarris.com.
See, look at there.
Anywhere where books are sold.
You get the book. He said anywhere books are sold, you can get the book. So get the book, support our friend, our brother, our nephew. I'm just gonna be an auntie. I'm gonna be an auntie.
Be the auntie. I got you, Auntie Lisa.
Right. This is the village. This is really about the village. It really is.
It takes a village.
It takes a village. It definitely takes a village. Thank you, Cam. Cam is my rider. I love it.
Thank you, Cam.
So we'll be here. Well, I'll be here next week because it is Thanksgiving. And so I'm giving the guys the night off.
Deuces.
But it's going to be interesting because I'm having a cousin's day. So I have invited a sibling, a cousin from each one of my uncles and aunts.
Wow.
So it'll be each one of my mom's siblings. I have a cousin coming.
Okay, cool.
So it'll be like 6 or 7 of us on. So y'all can only imagine what kind of foolishness gonna be cooked up in the kitchen next week.
As well. It's gonna be funny. I know how when cousins get together, it's something else.
Right. Right. So thank you, Miss Plummer. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Shima. Thank you, everybody, for watching tonight, for tuning in. Shima blessed my heart this week. She posted on social media. I wish Kitchen Talk was on every day. I said, Shima, I'm working on it.
It's coming. She spoke. I'm working on it.
So thank you guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like. Never miss another show. We have such a great time. Thank you, Jamal, my engineer in the background. Appreciate you so much, my guy. Oh, you are the best. You rock. We missed JT tonight. I think he might have been working still.
It's Christmas time. He on that roll right now.
Right.
Sure he's
right. It is definitely. So I will see you guys next week right here, 9:00 next Thursday. It is Thanksgiving, but you still don't take a break from the turkey at 9:00 and tune in.
By that time they're eating cake and peach cobbler.
Right.
Oh yeah. Hey, eat cake and peach cobbler with us.
Right.
And watch us. And I'm telling you, will not be disappointed. Because my family, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, they cray.
Right.
So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Jacari.